I'm in a New York state of mind.
And left.
New York.
New York City is the place where they said he'd be.
Says he was the closest thing New York had to a Dirty Harry.
532.
And no good deed ever goes unpunished.
That FBI agent guy, somebody told me he's got your phones tapped.
The kind of old-fashioned cop who preferred working the streets and making arrests to taking tests toward promotion.
You're assigned to a vandalism case in Athens.
All points bulletin for the Bo Dietl Show on the Gas Digital Network. Here's your host, Bo Dietl.
Hey, welcome to One Tough Podcast. I'm always joined here with my man Carlo. Hey, Carlo.
Hello,
how you doing?
everybody.
Today, I'm real excited because I got one of my Goombas here who's a very, very strong podcast citation guy, and one and only Mike Vecchione.
Well, thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
You know Mike from his podcast, No Disrespect.
Yes.
And his Tonight Show appearances. When your Tonight Show appearances, I caught you one time. That was a fucking long time ago. What have you been doing with yourself since?
No, I've done. I did one Tonight Show appearance with Leno, and then I've done two with Fallon since then. And I also have an album out called The Worst Kind of Thoughtful, released on my own, and it's available on iTunes. The Worst Kind of Thoughtful.
You know what? We got a clip from your new album.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Mike Vecchione.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I already love you guys. That's why that's not really the joke, ma'am. That's actually my true feelings. I live in Queens. Thank you. There's some Queens people here. I look like a police officer. And, the best part of looking like a cop and not being a cop is when I catch teenagers smoking weed. I like that a lot. There's some Queens people here. I look like a police officer. And the best part of looking like a cop and not being a cop is when I catch teenagers smoking weed. I like that a lot. I enjoy it. As I take their weed, I let them off with a warning. I sell the weed, I take the money, I buy cocaine, which is more of an adult drug. We got to get it off the streets. We got to get it off the streets from an enforcement.
Well, that's great stuff. But,
it's an aggressive joke.
Yeah,
Sorry about that for your
good.
listeners out there who are anti-drug. It's just a joke. I don't believe in it.
Where are you from in Queens?
I'm not from there. I live in Astoria past
you said
7
you're
years.
From fucking Queens.
No, I said I live in Queens.
Yeah, where?
Astoria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice area.
It's a lot of Greeks.
A lot of Greeks.
Up and coming.
Yeah,
it's up and coming. It's very expensive
A lot
now.
of cool bars, a lot of.
But I find the
restaurants.
Greeks, it's a little offensive because they name everything after their gods, which I don't find. Like I ate at like the Neptune Diner, and they were like, "How was the omelet?" I'm like, "It was pretty good, but you know who makes better omelets is Jesus Christ. Your Neptune is just the god of the sea."
Well, I just came back from Greece. I was in Santorini and Mykonos and all that. It's a fucking beautiful place,
It's
man.
great.
And, it's happening all over Europe. Is in Athens. We went to Athens. I was in Rome. I was all over the place. These fucking boat people now have taken over all Europe. Germany, you go to Germany, there's about 1.2 million there. Crime is soaring all over there. Paris is in trouble. Every major city in Europe, thanks to the open border bullshit over there in Europe. But let's stay focused on one thing.
Okay.
I'm a little jealous about you. I'm
Why?
going to tell you something right away, Mike.
Yeah.
You got a fucking degree in criminal justice.
Yes.
I mean, why didn't you become a cop?
I was going to try to go to law school, but I did not get in.
What
So
college
then I was just rudderless.
What college did you go to?
I went to Penn State University.
It's a fucking good school.
Yeah, it's a good school. But everybody, since the sex scandal, everybody's like, that's the main thing with Penn State now, the Sandusky molesting the kids.
Well, it's
and
still
as a criminal justice major, they were like, you should have snuffed that out. If you were a real criminal justice major, you would have been able to investigate that before it broke.
Were you in the school during that time when they were sniffing the guys?
I was there in the early 90s. So he wasn't... Well, yeah, he was still coaching.
He was functioning.
Yeah, he was still coaching, yeah.
Yeah, he was functioning there. Terrible shit.
Terrible situation.
Every time these sex scandals, and I'm a Catholic, but I'm fucking embarrassed about the bullshit. And this Pope, he's just still a human being. I don't look at the Pope looking at, and I'm sorry to my Christian brothers, but I don't look at him any different than any other man.
Right.
And when the reality of what this this overt actions of these fucked up homosexuals, penis licking fucking priests are out there. It pisses me fucking off that we haven't come to terms with this. There's a lot of victims out there, a lot of men who are now adolescent who their minds have been burnt on this. And you know what? We got to face our fears, man.
Yeah.
And when I'm a Catholic, I pray directly to the big guy.
Yeah.
I don't need no fucking intermediary.
What
I don't
about
need
the saints?
A saint who? I don't care about
Saint
saints.
Jude. The saints have different purposes. They're like the apps.
Well, I don't believe in that shit either. You know what I
And
believe in?
apps, there's a saint for that.
There's a saint. The apps,
Saint
you know, an app for every specific thing. They have different saints, so you're not bothering God all the time.
Oh, so you hit the underlings.
Yeah, you hit the underlings first. There's a hierarchy. You know, just like in the police department. I would
Well,
suppose.
yeah, you go chain of command, they call that.
Right.
But my problem, again, with the religion is, like I said, why not just pray right to God, man? What do we need an intermediary guy? And, you know, and then you question. I had a rabbi, I was talking with a guy from Germany. He's telling me about, you know, oh, the Lord is coming, you know, the Messiah is coming.
Right.
I said, well, you know what? Look, my whole thing is, if you believe in that, I support you.
Right.
You're an Arab. You believe that this other guy, Muhammad's coming, and whatever he's doing, riding horses, whatever he's doing. I believe everyone should have their own beliefs.
Yeah.
And you know yourself, I don't want to get serious, Mike, but you know yourself, what is religion about, basically? It was poor people who had to have a wish and had to have something to look forward to. And religion's based on people that are not doing very well because you know yourself, all these rich scumbags ain't that religious because they got it already. What are they going to pray for? More fucking money? So, you know, that's my outlook on it. But I'm still a Christian. I pray to God directly. I don't need no gay fucking priest where I going to talk to and he's going to, did you touch her pussy? Did you really sexually abuse that girl? Yeah, I finger fucked her, okay? What are you, jerking off in the booth next to me? I saw some stuff on the booth once, the confessional booth. I thought it was fucking snowing outside. I think the guy shot a fucking load on that thing.
Are you sure that was a confessional or was that a
No, it was a
peep show?
confessional. And you know what? The next thing we're going to hear, that there was a little hole in the confessional where the fucking priest was giving a blowjob. So enough with this fucking religion. Let's talk about you.
So, Bo, like no church for you then? Not even Easter or Christmas?
Oh, no, I love Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, I am like jingle my balls, man. I get a feeling inside me, Chris. I hope it fucking snows like a motherfucker on Christmas. We used to do something nice on Christmas up in Rayo's. I had my friend Matt Adele and Steve Wickoff, and we used to go up there. We used to buy presents, and then we'd wrap them. Spend thousands of dollars, wrap them all, and we would deliver like 40 presents to the Ronald McDonald House on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that? So we used to load them up in the car, go to Ronald McDonald's house, and give all the kids. That's what Christmas is all about. Christmas is about sharing happiness with all the people. Now, let's talk about you. I don't want to bring your head down. I know it got real serious here. I fucked over my own religion. I talked about all this shit. But you grew up in Youngstown, Ohio.
Half in Youngstown, Ohio, which is a steel town. It's a suffering. It's part of the Rust Belt. And then we moved to Boca Raton, Florida.
You got rich.
Yeah. No, we were in a family business, growing and canning mushrooms. And my grandfather and my father didn't get along. So my father up and took our family and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. You're going to run me into the ground. And we moved to Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Now, were the mushrooms coming from Italy or are they fucking local?
He started as canning spaghetti sauce, but then he was run out by ragu. He couldn't compete with ragu, so he had the operation already up.
Ragu sucks.
It sucks.
Rayo's and my other friend's sauce is good.
The sauce is actually a great
Sharippa's sauce is great
Really?
too, and also Rayo's sauce. The other ones are like putting fucking ketchup on. This new guy, this new guy who's going for the Supreme Court. What's his name? Kavanaugh says he puts ketchup on his fucking spaghetti. Right there, he lost my fucking vote.
Oh, man. He's got no judgment.
That's disgusting.
Hey, that's true.
That's disgusting. So then, growing up in Boca Raton, you went to school in Boca?
Went to school in Boca, played football, wrestled, and then went to Penn State. Wrestled for a little while. Got beat up. I really wasn't good enough to be there.
What weight were you? What weight were you?
160.
That's nice middleweight. Nice.
Nice middleweight.
You look like you'd put together.
Yeah. No, I try to stay in shape.
Yeah.
You? What kind of regimen are you on?
I get into fights all the time.
Is that what it is?
I almost got into a fight last. I was at Milo's. Some black guy come walking by. I'm sitting out front there. I'm with Johnny John Q. Kelly, and all of a sudden I'm with Margot. John Q. Kelly was sitting out on the veranda there having dinner. Some black guy comes by with a fucking Knicks hat, and he goes, "Hey, motherfucker," he goes, "give me some fucking money, you white boy, you fat white boy." He goes, "You know what? I fuck those white bitches." This is what he's telling me right face to face with me. And I'm looking, I said, "I think you better leave." I'm telling you, if I was twitched, I would be in jail now because I'd beat this guy into another fucking door. He tormented me for about 5 minutes. I said, "Listen to me. I think it's time for you to fucking go."
Yeah.
But at any time, because now in New York City, they have this idea that they could tell when they walk at the precincts telling cops, "Yeah, I'm going to go fuck your daughter. I'm going to hit you in the ass, bitch." This is the attitude.
Yeah.
They're getting away with it. So now they think that a John Q. citizen now has to put up with this.
Yeah.
Where does it stop,
Right.
Mike? Where does it fucking stop?
I don't know. I can't believe he had the balls to actually do that. Usually it's on Twitter that people do that behind an anonymous name.
No, they walked into station houses now, and they're telling the cops, "I'll bend you over to female cops that fucked you in the ass. I'm going to have your daughter suck my dick." And the cops sit there and they roll their fucking fingers. And this is not going to be a good thing.
That's
Because
not good.
the people there, you're out with your wife, your girlfriend,
Yeah.
you want to take that kind of abuse.
Right.
It happened to me last night at Milos, in front of Milos. And I'm telling you right now, I was very close from getting involved. And you know what it would have been? It would have been a headline in the New York Post.
Right.
Because I would have beat this motherfucker into the ground.
Yeah.
And then you know what happened? They would have locked my ass up.
Yeah.
And this is the problem.
And you would have got
Getting away.
sued civilly, too.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
it. Don't forget about the crime. Look what's going on with the New York City Police Department. $380 million of lawsuits. They pay. They don't even, if you put a lawsuit against a cop, they don't even try it.
They pay it out.
It's a payout.
Yeah,
It's like the way Home Depot was. If you slip and fall, $25,000 was the automatic. That was like, no questions asked.
Right.
Take the $25,000. The word went out. Every scumbag out was slipping and falling and getting $25,000. I mean, what's going on in our country today with the discard that they have for the law enforcement sucks. Really sucks.
And it comes out of all our pocket. You know, we pay taxes, and that $384 million, you know, we're paying for it at the end of the day.
Yeah. You know, Mike, back to you.
Yeah.
You were a teacher, too.
I was a teacher. Had a criminal justice degree, didn't want to be a cop, didn't get into law school, so I started working with adjudicated kids. I
mean, were you a licensed teacher? Did you take the fucking...
Yeah, see, I went back at night and got my master's in certification.
Wow.
5 years. It took me 5 years at night.
And then you were actually certified as a school teacher.
Yeah, special education teacher.
Wow, that's what my daughter is up in the South Bronx.
Really?
32 kids. She just told me first day of school yesterday, no fucking air conditioning. The water fountains, they can't drink the water because it's all fucking fucked up. And she's up in the South Bronx. 32 kids, half of them don't speak English, and this is what they expect. I told my daughter, get the fuck out of there. She said, Dad, I want to help these kids out. I'm scared shit every day.
Yeah.
Because the first day when she first started 5 years ago up there, they stole her cell phone. These were first graders. I mean, you laugh about it, but imagine what these poor teachers have to go through.
Yeah.
And now they're just loading them up. And that fucking moron mayor, all they talk about is how many people graduating, but they're not saying who the victims are. The black and Hispanic kids are graduating, but they can't fucking read and write. Why don't you help them and help them read and help their math get up there? And that's doing a service. You don't just promote people and graduate people.
Yeah.
That's being scumbagish to people.
So, Mike, you were a teacher in Philly. Was
Yeah.
it similar to what Bo was saying? How was it in that environment?
Yeah, I think it's gotten much, much worse in
gotten
terms
worse.
of like, people think that parents, you know, the school, you have to give the school power. You have to give the teachers power. The parents, everybody wants to give the parents power. The parents should have a say with their kid, but the school has a job to do. So the school should have the authority. You can't just, some of these parents are out of their minds. So it's like, you can't just give them the authority. You're a school. Your job is to educate. You're supposed to have an expertise in this. That's why I went to all this school and everything. So you have to give them the authority. You can't just kowtow to parents. It's like the same thing you were talking about in the police department. There has to be order.
Yeah.
You know, the school knows how to educate the kids. Now, you're bringing in, as a parent, a working knowledge of your kid, and that's valuable. But that's where it stops. You shouldn't have authority over, oh, he should be learning this. I don't agree with this grade. It's like, you don't have to agree with this grade. It is what it is, and I'll talk to you about it. We can have a dialogue. But once the hammer comes down from the school, we have to move on.
Right, and I really believe in rewarding teachers that work hard, because you could have a civil service mentality teacher, gets to A to B, just get through. Like 90% of the cops today don't do the work 10% are out there, and that 10% out there that are busting their ass are the ones that get in trouble.
Yeah.
They're the ones that stop the radio car, get out and stop and question people about, well, you're hanging out here. There's gangs get involved. When you get involved now, they're getting in trouble because all of a sudden the iPhone comes out. Hey, motherfucker, I'm going to own your house. Now it's out there amongst the scumbags, i.e. last night with me personally. Oh, we can fuck around with anybody. Nobody can do shit. It's open warfare. So the next time you're walking with your girlfriend, your wife, or whatever, Michael, you could get fucking harassed and abused. And you know what you're going to end up doing? You're probably going to end up walking away again because you know once you have a conflict or a problem,
right,
they could come out with a fucking knife. I carry a gun, so I don't worry about that. But, I mean, in reality, this guy could have had a gun, could have had a knife, and I was going to get up and going to go, we were going to really go.
But if you were to use that, imagine what kind of scandal that would ruin that would change your life. Like, that would ruin your life. You know what I mean? If you were to use it,
exactly. And if I was running for fucking mayor, everyone would say, and if I beat the fucking guy into the ground, or if he beat me into the ground, I don't think he's going to beat me because I ain't letting that fucking, he'll have to kill me. And I mean, that's the way I feel bad. You're going to get into me? Better fucking kill me because I'm going to come up, rip your fucking arm and beat you with your own fucking arm. I don't really give a fuck anymore. I'm just pissed me off that it happened to me last night, Michael. And this is what's going on to all the poor people in the public. They're walking around. They got to be taken. And this fucking mayor don't give a shit. He don't support his cops. And that's the way it is. But
the cops and the teachers.
What's that?
The cops and the teachers.
Cops and the teachers.
But nobody would do that to a hospital. Nobody would walk into a hospital and say, I know how I want to be treated. I know, you're
yeah, you have to defer to the expert. I just know from a school standpoint, like I talk to teachers that I taught with, and I'm like, how's it going? Because I've made my choice with my career, and it's got its ups and downs.
I love teachers because teachers are what the kids are dealing with sometimes 7 hours out of the day. Right. Way they teach them and the way they talk to them and try to get them to have respect is more important than the parent because the parent sees the kid. A lot of these kids have one parent, don't even have two parents. And the small amount of interaction is so small, they're working their ass off. The kids in the classroom. So you got a teacher that's teaching respect, loyalty, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That to me is such an important thing.
Me too.
Because this is how you train that young first grader that you can't talk like that. My daughter told me yesterday, one of the kids says, go fuck yourself, you bitch. This is a first grader. And she just looks at him and just says, that's not a nice way to talk.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a first grader. So where is that mindset going? You tell me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when a kid says something like that, there's got to be recourse for that. They've got to be taught a lesson there so that they get it that, hey, this is unacceptable.
Well, this is a special ed class. My daughter's a specialist like you in special ed.
Right.
But the whole point is, you got to remove disrupted students. If you can't control them, you can't get 32 other kids being disrupted by one disruptive kid. And that has to be taken in consideration. You could go far. You take that child, you put him someplace or her someplace, and you work with that child.
Right.
And you don't throw him into the garbage. You work with him.
I believe that too. I believe that. I believe that the kid who says that, go fuck yourself. It's like you need to separate them from so that doesn't become a problem. Other kids don't start doing that. But you don't give up on that kid.
No.
But you need the necessary leeway in order to deal with that kid because that kid's farther off than the rest of the kids. He's pushing boundaries. So you need that leeway in order to be able to deal with him. The right way to show him, to really show him that's not the right way to be.
A lot of families, a lot of African American, Hispanic families. Well, the Hispanics more or less they have a pretty decent family structure. Hispanics have fathers and mothers a lot more than the African American kids there. But the fact that half of them have multiple, the mothers have multiple kids with multiple people. I'm not trying to be making fun of anybody, but the reality is there's no real family structure, no kind of contact. And other than here's a bag of potato chip, here's a Pepsi Cola, that's your dinner tonight, and the only resource, the only thing is like it should be some kind of a overt freedom when you go to school where you could talk to your teacher, tell your teacher what's going on. Express this, have another side of your life to focus your life in a great direction instead of just picking up the generations and generations of non-control. That's the way I look at it.
They're there 8 hours a day,
right. And that's the biggest part of that child's life is school and
teachers,
learning.
Their peers, everything.
But it's very important for that when you do what you got to do in school and you do the right things in school that when they go home, it's supported. And I know in a lot of cases it's not. Whether it's and some parents are on the end of they're just in poverty and they're doing the best they can and they can't they're trying as hard as they can,
might be
but they're
working.
worn down and tired, and it's like then they have this kid. So as a teacher, what I always did was I talked to the parent, and I didn't down the parent. I was like, look, I know you're struggling. Let's work together on this to get this kid on board the
Mike,
right way.
You're a fucking exciting guy to talk to. You're a very smart guy. You're a comedian.
Yes.
All my respect to you, and I hate to get serious with a comedian, but you're so very smart and so overt. But let's go back to comedian world. Let's make people laugh. I think we brought our fucking audience down enough for today.
Right.
Let's talk about this new album.
But I did what you did in the sense that I had a career as one thing, and then I switched into another career. Now yours is very similar because you went from the police force in the 80s, which is it's got the 70s and 80s, which had to be like unbelievable. It had to be the Wild West. From the movies and all that we know, people of my generation. I wasn't living here at the time, it was the movies and everything. It was just the Wild West.
It was beyond anything you could think about, Michael. I'm talking about, but you had respect from everybody.
Right.
And you were in there, and you're talking about we had over 2,000 murders a year and robberies, 500,000 robberies, gunpoints, drugs were prevalent there. I mean, it was crazy. But the only thing was, you had a respect factor that people knew there's nobody else coming. You're the police.
Right.
And that's all. I wouldn't trade my police career for nothing in the world. But in my 15 years I was on, I think I did about 15 lifetimes. My own kids suffered because of me being a cop.
Right.
Because I never was home. I was never home. I was never able to share that. I'd be in friggin' court. I'd made thousands of arrests, and I would be in courts with these arrests, and day and night, my days off, I worked being a cop and a detective, days off, everything. And that was my life. I devoted my whole life. I told the story about the Palm Sunday massacre, 10 dead, my last case, and there was 3 African-American kids, 7 years old, left in a room, abandoned by the mother, went to the store, no food in the refrigerator, they were totally naked, defecation all over them. I waited for the mother to come back. I said, let me explain something to you. I'm going to come back every fucking week. If you don't have food in that refrigerator and this kids ain't clean, I'm getting them the fuck out of here. I get a call from my lieutenant, kept calling me. I get back to the station. He goes, Deedle, you're investigating the biggest mass homicide in New York history, largest mass homicide. You're worrying about 3 fucking kids? That's not your fucking job. I said, that's the problem. It is our job.
Yeah.
And being a cop, you're also you should be responsible. And one of my things when I ran for mayor was, why don't we hire retired cops to work for this ACS for abused on children? You could pay them $50,000 a year, give them a thing with their pension waiver, and we could get the greatest investigators. Yeah. Instead of you got these schmucks on the ACS. One ACS worker was a fucking convicted murderer, I think. Yeah, convicted murderers working ACS for abuse on children. No, I mean, there's so many things that people don't realize. It's something what you call, when you're looking at something, it's common fucking sense.
Right.
And that's it.
So, Mike, you're in Asia, so that's a totally different culture.
Yeah, that was really something else.
What do you think about that? Like, in comparison, we talked about a lot of bad things in New York and America, but what do you see different?
Where in Asia?
I went to 4 cities in China, Singapore, and then
did you go to Beijing?
Malaysia. I went to Beijing, yeah. I went to the Great Wall.
That fucking place sucks.
Went to the Great Wall.
Smog,
you didn't like it?
Fucking smog.
You didn't like it?
The food sucks. The people sucks. The broads have no asses. And on top of that, the fucking traffic. How was the traffic?
I mean, there's 1.35 billion
Took
people
5 hours
there.
to get to the fucking Great Wall of shit over there. I went up there, ran around the fucking wall. Blow me with that fucking place. I would never go back to fucking Beijing, whatever you want to call it. It sucked. The people are not friendly. There's no dogs. There's no pets. I think I'm eating the fucking pets when I'm eating that shit they got on the table.
I didn't have that experience. I liked it because I was doing shows over there. But it is a lot of people.
They understood you over there?
It was expats. So it's people who understood English. You know, it was Australian and Irish, and there were Asian people there who did understand English. So I had a different experience with the shows. But the people, there's a lot of people over there. So I think that their natural, the spatial relations, it's like people are closer to you than they are here. Even in New York, where there's 8 million people, it's like there's a lot of people all the time. So it's a lot of stimulus.
Did you see the smog and the traffic?
The traffic is crazy. But the smog wasn't really that big of a deal over there when I went. I don't know if you went during the summer, but it was like 100 degrees every day.
It was fucking hot.
Yeah.
I went to that forbidden fucking city. I don't know who's forbidden and all that shit. And if you watch if you watch TV and you learn about the Red Chinese, I think something like 40 or 50 million Chinese were killed by this current regime of the Red Chinese. People don't realize human rights. You don't have no fucking human rights. I love my freedom of America. I love America. So this way, scumbags like that scumbag last night, he could do what he wants to do because this is America. And as much as I'd like to punch his fucking lights out, you know what? That's the freedoms of this country. But he then infringes upon my freedom.
Right.
And there has to be a balance. His freedom and my freedom. Hey, look, you don't like what's going on in your life? Go talk to a fucking storefront. Go talk to yourself. Don't interrupt my fucking dinner and then get me upset where I want to take your fucking lights out. Where's my rights to enjoy my dinner?
Yeah. That's a guy who's got nothing to lose, it sounds like.
Well, that's exactly it. But you know what? He's going to do it to the wrong guy. And then he's going to fucking, we'll just pick up the paper another day and another guy will get fucking massacred. And that's it. But you like China.
No, I liked it because it's just a different culture. And it was cool to see that side of the world. I've never been to that side of the world before. I've always wanted to go. And I got to see it. And my experiences there were really good. I had a great experience
I disagree with you. I thought it fucking sucked.
No,
okay?
The Great Wall? You didn't appreciate the Great Wall? It was pretty unbelievable.
I like to watch National Geographic. I watched the Great Wall on the fucking History of the Discovery Channel. Fuck that shit. It ain't that fucking great, okay?
What was your favorite place?
In China?
No, the favorite place to travel in the world.
I'm fucking Santorini, Greece is there, and all over Italy. I'm going back to Capri next week.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. You got beautiful places, but what's hurting me is like, Budapest, Hungary. Beautiful city.
Really?
They don't allow any of those fucking boat people in Hungary. So it's all clear in Hungary. It's a beautiful place. My point is that Paris, I used to go to Paris. It was great. Now they shut down the Champs-Élysées for prayer. They actually shut it down. They do whatever the hell they fucking say. And the point is, now you're impairing traffic. Crime is up. And if you're a Jew, my Jewish friends, if you're a Jew in fucking Paris, these fucking abba-dabba-doos spit on you, curse at you. All the Jewish people leaving Paris. That's a fucking problem. Because you're letting these scumbags. It's just like that little cocksucker last night. But now it's thousands and millions of these boat people and these psychopathic Muslim terrorists. Not the regular Muslims. I'm talking about Muslim fanatic fuckers. There's a difference. You got scumbag in New York and you got good people in New York too.
I mean, I live in Queens, so it's like real diverse. I live in Astoria, and we live right next to a mosque. And you couldn't ask for better people, better neighbors. They're really like, and they left their countries, I think, because they don't like the terrorists, the extremists either. They're here. They're coming here for the same reasons that we're here, which is freedom to practice their religion.
Let me preface what you just said. I have a lot of Muslim friends. I do not disrespect Muslims. I say it in the vernacular as a half a joke, but the ones the psychopaths are the ones I'm talking about, not the good Muslim people, because you got a good family structure and a lot of Muslim families who believe in their Allah and believe in their beliefs, and I do support them, and they could teach their children to be good children and not say, well, if Mike doesn't want to convert to Islam, we got to kill him. No, we got to all live together. If you're Islam, Carlo, you're a Jew, Mike, I'm a Christian, we should all respect each other.
But we should be able to appreciate our differences, and we should be able to break each other's balls about it. Like, I think that's funny.
Well, I like fucking bacon. Right away, I like bacon.
Right.
So that's a fucking problem there with my Islamic friends. Even with some of my kosher Jewish friends, I got a fucking problem. I love bacon, man. I love BLTs, man. I'm sorry. And they don't eat the BLT, so that's my prerogative. They can't look upon me as eating a fucking sweat pig. What's the difference? Over in China, they eat fucking dogs. Did you see one fucking dog there?
Yeah, I did see dogs. See dogs, and one of the people who was taking me around, I did ask her that question. I'm like, is it true? And she's like, I said, have you ever eaten a dog? And she's like, okay, let me preface this by saying, yes, I have, but I lived in a very rural area. And we were very poor, so any kind of meat was.
Was she fucking barking? Was she barking when she was talking to you?
She was scratching herself a little bit. She was scratching herself.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something. Like I said, I've eaten almost any. I ate this shit once, and they were. I was in Saudi Arabia with a couple of the fucking abadabadoos over there. I used to bodyguard them. I was over there 24 times in Riyadh, Jeddah, and all that shit. And they used to try to outgross me, and they used to put this shit on the table. You eat with your hand. There was nothing. If you put shit there and cooked it up, I'd fucking. You're not gonna outgross Bo. Your eyeballs, I fucking pop them. You know what it is all about? You take your mind, you put your mind somewhere else, and you eat the shit. What's the difference? Half the shit you're eating in a restaurant, people are blowing their nose, pissing in there, and you're fucking eating it, Mike. You know, so that's that.
It's important to try everything, though. When you go to another culture, I like to try.
So you would eat shit, Mike?
I wouldn't eat.
Wait.
What?
If you and I went together,
cross-examination.
When we went together, we go back to China.
Yeah.
And they say this is the shit of the cow.
Right.
And they fry it up with some nice onions and some of your mushrooms. And we're sitting there.
You threw mushrooms in there to make it personal.
You wouldn't eat the shit, Mike?
You know what? If it was a thing that they ate over there and they were eating it, I would try it.
You would try shit.
I would try it.
So right now we got my man Mike is admitting to eating shit. That's good.
Well, not.
But let me tell you something.
Listen,
after
in Italy, they eat tripe. They eat.
Oh, I love tripe.
Mushrooms are grown in horse shit. By the way, Bo. I don't know if you know how mushrooms are grown.
Not because your family's in the fucking business. Yeah. I love porticini mushrooms. I love that other shit, those truffles.
Yeah.
And white truffles.
Why's it got to be white?
I like black too.
Okay.
But they're seasonal. You know, the white ones are seasonal.
But mushrooms are grown in a dark room and horse shit. So, you know, it's worth trying different things, I think, to broaden your horizons. I'm a guy who stays in the box a lot, and you know, anything that could take me out of that, it's learning. You know what I mean? You learn.
Yeah, but
if I don't like it, I don't do it again.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, even in your life, Mike, you know, I read up a bit about your life. You're a guy that doesn't sit fucking back. I like that shit.
No.
I wrote a few books in my life, and one of my book is Business Lungitation.
Okay.
Talking about you don't sit back. You don't become complacent.
Right.
Complacency is the death of success, is one of my verbulations. Anything. If I'm in a factory, I sweeping out factories. I want to be the best sweeper.
Yeah.
If I was a fucking teacher, I'd want to be the best teacher. I'd want to help those kids so much, and I would want to make sure when I was a cop and a detective, the same way.
Right.
And your life kind of symbolizes that. You could have continued yourself in the education area and kept being a teacher, but you like to do a lot of different things. You run businesses also now. Do you have business?
My business is my comedy. I'm trying to get my I do the podcast now, which is a new thing for me. Also, you know, I was trying to push my comedy, trying to get more eyes on my comedy. That's the whole reason for it. Different ways to do that. You're right. Ambition. Instead of waiting for the networks to come to me and go, "Hey, we're going to give you an opportunity," which doesn't happen that often. Let's face it. You need to do things to push yourself. Exactly what you're saying. A podcast, put out an album yourself. Get your comedy out there.
You know, like with me, I love the variation of life. I love to do different things. Last week, Danny A., my friend from the nightclubs, Danny, he's now a director, producer. So he put together a movie called Appalachia. He said, "Bo, I want you to play the Jewish lawyer." I said, "Well, I don't want to be the lawyer on the casting. My name is Irving Bozeman Esquire." So I put my fucking name in it thing, and it's a funny scene. Yeah. I got that guy David Arquette, the actor,
right,
and he plays opposite me. He plays the stumble and bumble state trooper from New York, from a small town, and it's a cool movie. It's about the Appalachian thing in 1956.
The meeting,
and all the organized crime. And these guys stumbled upon it. So one of the fucking scenes, I take the scene, and all of a sudden, at the end, I'm getting Carmine Galante out, right? So I said, "Take your keys." I says, "Sergeant," because he kept saying, "My name is Sergeant." I said, "Well, Sergeant," I said, "why don't you do me a favor, right? Why don't you go chase some fucking squirrels in the fucking forest?" I said, "Because you're fucking useless." And I walked out of there laughing at him. But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to, my division where I'm going is, I love to do different things.
Right.
My caller will tell you, I run so many different businesses. I'm involved in so many different. I love variation. I love variation. But my main business at all time, I had people sitting in my office 4 hours yesterday on a triple murder in the state of Kentucky, in the state of Kentucky where the police, whatever they're there, local schmucks are there, and it was a big cover-up, and it was a federal witness that was murdered. So they came to me, and they've gotten no kind of help from anybody.
Right.
And I'm now into this fucking shit
Yeah.
because I want to get this cocksucker locked up that killed these three people, his mother and father, and next door neighbor. And these things, all of a sudden, I love the art of fucking hunting down people.
Right, and taking it apart.
Yeah, and taking it apart and coming to the rightful conclusion with the evidence.
Did you ever pitch it as a show? Because that's really really a great show.
Yeah, they've pitched it to me. Discovery, before ID was around, they asked me to. But you got to say, my thing is, I get a feeling, like even talking for 4 hours yesterday, and there was a couple of suspects, and when they mentioned the one name, I can't explain it. It's like I'm shooting a load. It goes through my body, like boom. You ever have an orgasm, son? You ever have an orgasm?
Yes, I've had
It's
them.
like a fucking orgasm when they mention this one guy's name. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's non-tangible. It's like shooting a load. That's all I can say.
That's really something. I don't have that much time left. Can I ask you some organized crime questions?
Sure.
Okay, Carmine Galante, you mentioned him.
Yeah.
Did you have any inner workings with him? Because I've read up on him, and they said he was just one of the hardest stone cold killers you ever seen in your life. Like he would do crazy stuff in prison. You know what I mean?
He was, and it's just funny. My old sergeant, God rest his soul, one of the greatest New York City police sergeants, organized crime guy named Joe Coffey, was involved. And when Carmine Galante was shot dead, I think it was over there in Queens, Glendale area.
Williamsburg, right? Or
no, it was like Glendale. It was like near the border there. It was in the back of the Italian restaurant.
Joe and Mary's restaurant.
Yeah, and it was in the back. It had a little sitting area. And when he was shot dead, Carmine was known always to smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
So there was a famous picture with the fucking cigar hanging out his mouth.
Right.
A little birdie told me that fucking Joe Coffey, my ex-sergeant, put the fucking cigar. The cigar was in his mouth. He put the cigar in his mouth. And that famous photograph has him with the fucking cigar in his mouth. I think it's quite. If it happened that way, I think he's known for a cigar.
Yeah.
We'll let him die with his fucking cigar in his mouth. But with organized crime, I grew up with the most powerful organized crime guys: John Gotti Sr. and Scopo, Joey Ralphie Scopo. These guys I grew up with. They had a lot of respect for me. I didn't work in organized crime for that reason because I knew them all. Fat Tony Salerno I knew. When the nun got raped, Fat Tony Salerno called me up with my Irish partner to the Colonial. Hey, guys, what are you doing? He used to smoke a cigar. What are you doing with this fucking case? I said, Tony, we're not involved. They have 200 detectives. He goes, that's bullshit. He goes, get fucking involved. You're the best fucking cops up here. You know these streets better.
He's a powerful guy.
4 days later, we broke it. There was a $25,000 reward by Tony Salerno, and I'll tell you today, never ever in my life would I ever think of taking a reward for my job that I was fucking doing. And
that's really something because today they would take it in a second. Anybody, most people would take it in a second.
Yeah, and I like I said, it was different time. It was different.
Let me ask. Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
These neighborhoods with these mob-controlled neighborhoods, especially these heavy mob-controlled neighborhoods in the past, were they protected? In the past,
yeah.
Were they protected? Like, if somebody were to deal drugs or do something out of line, do they get a warning and then it never happens again, or they get a warning and they persist, they disappear? Like, it just seems like the idea of it was the neighborhoods were kind of protected from the organized crime figures. They didn't do anything within the neighborhood that would taint the quality of the neighborhood. That's the impression that the rest of us have, but you're on the inside, so I'm asking.
You're talking about back in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
Definitely was the facts. If you had a crew that was robbing people or stealing cars, even, that would fucking come and would filter down. Somebody would go to somebody they knew, and somebody would get involved, and it wouldn't happen anymore.
Right.
Let me just leave it at that.
It still happens. I mean, there's a guy in the Bronx that's facing charges because he hit a homeless guy with a baseball bat because he was begging for money in front of the restaurant.
Right.
So it still happens to an extent, but not like it used to.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, like last night, all of a sudden, if I got involved with this fucking guy and I beat him to the ground, what would happen? I would have got locked up.
Yeah.
And then, like he just said, like Mike said, I got a couple of bucks. That would have been the fucking great civil suit. And it would have been headlines. One tough cop beats some fucking mud up. and my fault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a terrible thing because I have a reputation of being a tough guy.
Right.
And, you know, it took a lot for me to sit there.
Hold back.
And John Kelly's looking at me and Margaret saying, Bo, relax. And I'm not going to ruin my fucking dinner and my night for this fucking piece of garbage.
Yeah.
And I said, I think it's time for you to move, okay? And I'll go fuck yourself, fuck your mother. And I'm there like this. I just looked at him and I'm looked at him in his eyes and I'm smiling, saying to myself, you're a lucky guy tonight, because I had one of my favorite suits on too, that I didn't want to get his fucking blood on my fucking suit.
Well, you know what? You would have to go to a Chinese dry cleaner in order to get it out. And I know how you hate China, and you've made it very clear, but you would have to go to a fucking dry cleaner to get that suit clean.
You know, Mike, before you go, I want to play a little something. You got this album out we talked about, and yet we have a clip from a new one, right, guys?
You could play another clip from that album. That was my new album, but if you could play another clip, could you play the Italian clip? Since I know you have a lot of probably Italian American listeners.
A lot of cops.
I am 100% Italian. Thank you. Wow, that really plays well out here. Out here, that does good. I'm 100% Italian. No one usually cares at all. I thought it was going to be so I want my blood to go to somebody eating, yelling. Wow, that really plays well out here. Out here, that does good. I'm 100% Italian. No one usually cares at all. I thought it was going to be a big deal when I was 10. Turns out no one gives a shit. The only time I tell people now is when I give blood, because they're like, what's your blood type? I'm like, it's funny you should ask. It's 100% Italian. They're like, that's not at all what we mean. I'm like, it's what I mean. Because I want my blood to go to somebody eating, yelling, or holding a grudge for no reason. That's what it is.
Where could listeners get your albums?
It's on iTunes. It's comicmikev.com/thoughtful. That's where you can buy the album. comicmikev.com/thoughtful.
What's fucking V-Doc?
comicmikev.com.
Oh, not Vecchione?
No. I don't, because it's too hard to spell my name for the common American listener.
The fucking thing. I want people to buy it.
Vecchione. But the link. I don't know. Can you include the link? Can you include
we'll
the link
put
on
up
the
the link
podcast?
for sure.
Yeah, thank you. It's comicmikev.com/thoughtful. If they just click on that link, you can access the album. And I'm at Comic Mike V. It's all over my website and all over my social media.
And you got your podcast?
I got my podcast. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed doing the podcast.
Yeah, that was good. We loved having you in.
You and that side order out there, your producer there. Are you banging her?
Oh, no. Shannon? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you sure?
No, absolutely not.
You
no.
sure you're not hitting in the seat?
Keeping a professional relationship.
Yeah. What about your partner?
No, he's not. You've talked to him. He's off the deep end half the time.
You guys, I'm going to tell you something. You two together have this fucking dry humor that's so funny. You think that you're really angry with each other. And it's just I'm trying to figure out. I thought you guys were really upset with each other. And I'm watching you guys go. And I'd like to do the show again. I'd love to do your
absolutely.
show
We'll definitely have you on.
And you guys just got such a great combination. The humor is funny because you play off each other's weakness and strength.
Right.
And it plays really well. And I'm really excited, and I really want to thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
And like I said, this podcast is a great vehicle for the fact that we can say whatever we want till the FCC puts a fucking handcuffs on me probably one day. And I love to curse. I love to be real, and I like to tell the truth.
Right.
And like I tell everyone, when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said because it'll always be the same.
Well, you have an unbelievable background, man. I really admire it. So thank you for having me on. My podcast is the No Disrespect Podcast, and it's on Gas Digital, and we definitely have you on again soon.
Great.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mike.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you to Mike Vecchione. You can find him on his website. We got a couple more things to cover before we end this show. So we have one question from the audience that we got to get to before we wrap up. So we usually don't do questions when we have a guest on, but this is a really great question. A few different people have asked, but I chose one email, and this is from Matt from Rhode Island, Bo. Matt writes, Bo, I know you run a business that employs hundreds of security guards. I'm not sure if you saw this story, but there was a young man working as a security guard at a hospital in Florida. He was fired when his employer discovered the creative videos he was posting on Instagram and YouTube. I have attached the video. Do you think he should have been fired for this? Would you fire someone who did this, or would you hire him?
What was the video?
So we're going to play it now. Looks like a very nice young man. Looks like a, professional. And, he just had some creative impulses, and he wanted to do it. So here he is. Looks like a good guy, right? Looks clean cut. So this is what he was doing. He's just recording himself,
Looks
in
like
his
a
natural
fucking
state.
psychopath.
All right, we can cut it there.
Put it this way. Look at this fucking look. Put it this way. You're supposed to represent security. You look at this fucking nut. If he acts like that, I would call him to my office and say, are you fucking kidding me? I'll give you a chance, cockhead. Don't act like a fucking imbecile and lose some fucking weight. You look like a fucking slob.
All right, so you would have given him a second chance. All right, so Paul Flart.
I mean, look at him. He looks like fucking Porky Pig. How does he get into the fucking uniform? Lose some weight. Do some fucking sit-ups. Eat a fucking salad, man. And I'm not against fat people, but this guy, how could he represent us? Look at him.
Okay,
He ain't got a BDA on his fucking.
I just wanted to get your opinion. A lot of people wanted to know. So, Bo, let's wrap up the show as we usually do with Punk of the Week. I think I know who might be the Punk of the Week. It might have been that guy in front of Milos, but if I would like to get your opinion on who you think this week's punk is.
Look, we're not even going to give that lowlife fucking credit to be Punk of the Week. He's just fucking, he's like fucking his shit that I step in. That's what he's like. But the Punk of the Week, I really believe, is that asshole from New Jersey, that fucking United States Senator from New Jersey, that baldhead guy, the African-American
Cory
senator.
Booker.
I listened to him at the Confirmation Heroes. All they want to do at these confirmations is, Haye Makumbe, every slave, everything that happened in our fucking history, this guy Kavanaugh is responsible for. I mean, leave it alone. If you can't ask intelligent questions, look, we know one thing. Look at fucking Ruth Bader, what's her name?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
She looks like fucking Ruth Buzzy. This fucking liberal cunt. As far as I can say, she's a Supreme Court judge. And she come out publicly and she got herself involved in politics and makes statements about politics. She's a Supreme Court justice. The Supreme Court justices are beyond politics. And she's a terrible fucking example of that. I don't want my Supreme Court justice to be involved in politics. I want them to weigh everything out. Don't have any foreclosure conclusion. If we talk about Roe versus Wade. Yeah, you know what? You got to look at it. If people are in support of it and you're a Supreme Court judge, you've got to make your determination of your choice of how you're going to determine from hearing the facts and then make your determination. Don't have a self-determination unless you look at all the fucking facts.
Well, the judge is supposed to be fair-minded and consider everything and be apolitical.
Cory Booker was dickhead of the week.
Well, he's trying to grandstand.
Yeah, he wants to be president. Yeah, all of them. And then the other puke there, that fucking punk from Connecticut, that ugly fuck that lied about his service record. The senator from Connecticut, what's his name?
I don't know.
El Puco, whatever the fuck his name is.
Blumenthal?
Yeah, douchebag. Yeah, he lied about his service and all that crap. These are fleas.
Well, we know politicians are the lowest form of human life.
And that's why, Carlo, don't worry. I would never, ever run for political office ever again. They can lick my shave balls.
Oh, well, at least you shave them for them.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you again to Mike Vecchione. He's a great guy. Please check out his new album. We'll post up the link where to get it. It's really funny, and he put it out himself. Check out his podcast, No Disrespect Podcast. So thank you very much for listening to us this week. We're back at it. September started. We got an amazing lineup of guests.
Oh, I just spoke to Ira Rosen from 60 Minutes. He won the Peabody Award. Top guy. He says, Bo, I'd love to do your podcast. This is an interesting fucking dude.
We got a lot of interesting people from all walks of life, and that's what we do on the show. We cover every base. Follow us on social media. We are at One Tough Podcast on Twitter. Bo is at Bo Deedle on Twitter and at The Real Bo Deedle on Instagram. And you can find me, CJ Coutinho, on all platforms. We're still giving away copies of Bo's book to one reviewer every week. So please Find us on iTunes. Give us a good rating. Give us a good review. And this week's winner is Aram from California. We're going to send that out ASAP.
I hope it ain't Rahm Emanuel.
No, his name's Aram.
Okay, good.
And he loves the show.
All right, Ram. A big shout out to you, brother. Big shout out to you. I'm glad you're not Rahm Emanuel.
No, it's spelled differently, but he's a good fan. Make sure to sign up for Gas Digital using code OTP to save 15%. You get instant access to HD video, live chat, forums, and archives of all the shows on the network. And it's a great network, so please sign up. Email all questions to onetoughpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. We love to answer your questions, and we'll see you next week.
Carlo, what about my socks?